In this video, I'm going to talk about simple circuits. Now, this is not IB level material, but it's designed for those who maybe haven't done circuits since middle school and need a bit of a refresher before they start the topic 5 in IB physics. Take a moment and read through the success criteria I'm going to go through in this video. Okay, so let me just start by talking about the parts of the circuit and just remind you of their purpose. So first of all, we've got the source, and right here I've got a cell. Now, technically, I have just a cell and not a battery. If I have multiple cells put together, that's what creates a battery. It's one of those misnomers or words that we have in everyday English that doesn't necessarily match the science word. So it's going to be our source. It's the whole reason why we have any kind of current flowing. Secondly, here I've got the load. A load just means anything that's going to be using the energy that is going to be supplied by our electrons. In this case, I have a resistor, and remember those bands on there, we can actually read that to find out what the resistance is of the resistor. We don't have to do that anymore in IB, but I know many other systems will teach that to students. I could have had a different kind of load. I could have had a heater. I could have had a lamp. I could have had a motor. A load is just something that's going to use the energy. For ammeter, that will be something that's going to measure the current. Remember, current is related to the number of electrons passing by a point. If I increase the current, that means I'm going to increase the number of electrons. I don't make them go faster. That will be dependent on the actual material I'm using. It'll just depend on how many electrons I have. It's actually in the amount of charge per second moving past a point. Voltmeter is going to measure potential difference. Sometimes, again, everyday language, more slang, also more North American, they will call it the voltage. Voltage is actually just a phrase saying it's measured in volts. It doesn't tell us what it is. The potential difference means that it's the change in electric potential energy between 2 points. I want to point out that I'm using the PhET simulation here. It's an HTML5, so you can use that in any browser and any device. And I'll put the link to that in the description for this video. First, I have a voltmeter. Remember, potential difference, or I'm going to have to be measuring the difference between two spots. So you see how I have one contact before and one contact after my resistor. That's how I'll measure and use a voltmeter. Now, with the ammeter, if I want to know about the current flowing past a point, that means I'm actually going to have to put it inside the circuit and have the electrons flow through it. And in this case, if you look at the numbers on my ammeter, in my simple circuit, the current's giving me the same reading at each point, and that's because the electrons only have one path. They can't build up or disappear. They have to keep moving through the circuit. And that means I'm going to have the same number of charge past the point each second. Now, it wouldn't be very easy for us to follow these kind of diagrams and to try and really draw batteries and cells or lamps. So what we've come up with is we use these things called schematic diagrams. Now, they're easy to follow, easy to draw, even with somebody of my artistic abilities. The diagrams I have here come from the IB Physics data booklet, and they're fairly standard around the world. Sometimes places have slightly different ones. For example, this squiggle line sometimes refers to a resistor in some places. A couple other things, we usually make things even easier by always drawing wires with a straight line, even though they might not be in real life. And also, if two wires are going to cross, if they were connected, we'll use a dot like this. And if not, if one was just going over top of the other, we usually do like a little hump like this to move on past. Again, you do not need to memorize these, but you'll probably use many of them so often that they'll just become second nature for you to use them. They will be found in the IB data booklet. So let's run this circuit then. You can see I've changed from, there's the schematic diagram, and I can change that back to more of a picture diagram as well. And right now you can see that I don't have any electrons moving, and that's because my circuit is open. It's kind of like a bicycle wheel. It's either all of the electrons are moving or they're all stopped. You can't just have a bicycle chain broken apart and then be able to, move the pedals around and still get your bike to move. Once I close the circuit, now you can see they're all moving. Now, in my little diagram or my little simulation, I had the electrons moving, and we need to point something out here. I like to think of it as the early scientists were very optimistic and very positive type of people. When they had to decide, before knowing about electrons and protons, they had to decide what's actually going to carry the charge around my circuit. And being optimistic, positive people, they decided to say positive things were moving through their circuit. Well, they got it backwards. It's actually the negative ones we know. That's the negative electrons that are going to move through the wires to carry the current. But, well, they kind of got stuck in their ways. And now if you think about it, if I move all of my negative things to the left, that is kind of like moving the positive things to the right and the negative things to the left. They will have the same result. So what I'm going to do is show you our little simulation again to show you how we get the same result. So here's the electrons, and I click on this button up here. I will change it to conventional current. Notice it's moving the opposite way. It's my exact same circuit. It's just moving either the negatives from one direction around. In this case, it will be in this direction, counterclockwise or anticlockwise. And when I had conventional current, they showed positive things moving this direction around. Okay, and finally, let me remind you what the difference is between direct current and alternating current. In direct current, that means the electrons travel in the same path and they go in the same direction all the way along. That's like that bicycle chain I was talking about earlier. If we talk about alternating current, though, it's a little different. This is what we actually get from the mains or from the electrical socket that you plug into the wall at home. In that case, the electrons are actually just moving back and forth, back and forth. So they speed up, slow down, stop, speed up, slow down, stop, speed up, slow down, stop, constantly changing direction and speed back and forth. Okay, so please look back through the success criteria one more time. Hopefully, this video serves as a reminder of some of the assumed knowledge for IB Physics Topic 5.